Spread the faith, and spread it to all. The final incredible words from Joe Biden, your president-elect, minutes ago, saying that America has spoken and wanted both sides to come and cooperate. An incredible message as we start Purple Power Live tonight, as President-elect Joe Biden says that the partisanship between the parties needs to stop. And the first item of business, of course, is stimulus. Earlier today, LALATE broke the world exclusive that Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell will be the chief negotiators for your second stimulus package. And tonight, Joe Biden says America has spoken. They want us to cooperate. This is the debut of Purple Power Live. Good evening, and thank you for joining me. I see Wendy, Stone, Fernando, Alicia, Kathy are in the room, along with Dune, 46, and Tiffany, Laura, Terry, and Tiffany. Thank you for joining me for Purple Power Live tonight. Already 1,000 of you are in the room in what is expected to be an incredible night, an incredible optimism that actually embodies the Purple Power spirit. Tonight, Joe Biden delivered his presidential speech as the first presidential speech of his term, and his message was clear. Partisanship needs to stop, that America's asked people to get things done in a nonpartisan way and get it done for the spirit of the American people. It was, in a way, the Purple Power message. He said they want us to cooperate. He said the America has spoken, they want us to cooperate. What he meant by that was that a president has been elected who's a Democrat and a Senate has remained that is Republican. And that 4 years of partisanship, and especially 6 very tough months on you and I, on partisan spirit between the House and the Senate, has to stop. But it was not a negative message. It was a positive message of cooperation. He says, if we can agree to disagree, we can agree to cooperate. We can define America in one word, possibilities. And again, that's the Purple Power spirit. Anything is possible. Everyone can go in and dive in given dreams. We believe in possibilities for this country. We're looking ahead. And that is the spirit of Purple Power, looking forward, not looking behind. America that never leaves anyone behind, never gives up in anyone. And that was the very first spirit of the Purple Power when I started moving into stimulus. Early on, no one was telling people who are on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and railroad benefits why they didn't get a first stimulus check. No one explained it to them. And what they thought was they didn't get it because no one wanted to give it to them. Not true. It was that the bill said if you're an adult dependent, you're not going to get it to him. And you would think that someone would explain that to half of the American public, that they had chosen to leave a dependence out of a stimulus check. But Joe Biden today said America never leaves anyone behind. And that's the spirit of the second stimulus package, that all Americans would qualify for provisions and not be excluded because of a tax determination that you're dependent on someone's tax return. We are good people, and this is the American states of America states, the United States of America. Those comments are clearly in deference or indifference to how we had heard early in the pandemic, that Americans were getting rich off on unemployment, that we were bad people, that we were using unemployment for a bad purpose. No more is that demonization of the American worker or that demonization of you. It's all positive. There's been a lot of breaking news on Purple Power before Purple Power Live tonight, and I know there's been a lot of recordings, so I want to recap all the breaking news that you could only hear on this channel that has happened throughout the day. First, Mitch McConnell is the lead negotiator now for the Republicans. Second, Joe Biden is now the lead negotiator for the Democrats. Third, the first item of business for the Senate starting Monday is stimulus. Fourth, Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell do not do things the way Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin did. nor the way Donald Trump did it. And I want to explain this very clearly because we've been programmed to deal with stimulus a certain way over the last few months. They do things professionally, quietly, without press releases and appearing on The View or James or Steve Colbert every 10 seconds and insulting one another. They don't do that. And so what you had seen in recent days or seen in recent weeks was people would send me a DM, oh my God, did you hear what she said? Oh my God, did you see Steve's letter slamming her? You will never see that from Joe Biden or Mitch McConnell. They don't operate that way. And so, what I want you to understand is that when Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell are working, they may not tell you they're working. That when they're having meetings on your stimulus check and negotiations, they may not be telling you. They don't do it with press releases and public relations and pomp and circumstance, as Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi grandstanded a lot. And so this is incredible, great news that the work starts right now, and the work will start quickly. I also want you to understand what Joe Biden historically has done during transition periods. During the Obama-Biden transition period, they started working the night after election night results were in because they had an emergency on their hand. It wasn't COVID, it was the failure of the US banks. And those private banks needed to have an enormous equity fix right away or the national economy would collapse. And so they started working immediately. Tonight, you heard Joe Biden talk about his transition. He has several big issues, but he fully understands that COVID and stimulus are the number two things that need to be done right now. There's two problems with stimulus. One, your lack of stimulus to date, or the inability to get the second stimulus out. But the other big problem that I've been addressing in recent days is lockdown stimulus, and that is the concern of states and cities putting you on lockdown in upcoming weeks, and there's no stimulus ready to pay you. But tonight we have a third problem, and that third problem is expiring stimulus. The first stimulus package had stimulus in there, and it's expiring. Let me go over what's expiring. UI benefits of FPUC, those additional weeks, expiring in December. PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, which was created under CARES Act 1, expiring in December. Student loan repayment created by executive order, expiring. FPUC, of course, expired in July. Mortgage forbearance by Freddie and Fannie Mae, expiring. The CDC eviction grant expiring, created by executive order. And finally, the other things that are very troubling. What's important to understand is that there's a period of time that becomes very very concerning, which is late December, where so many things are coming due, and it's like where I was when I first came into this back in July. It's important to understand that this stimulus needs to get out right now. And what's important to understand is we need to be informed of what's going on and informed about what's happening. As we look to the new day, it's really exciting for Purple Power for you to really focus in on what are the items that you need to make sure that Joe and Mitch understand are out there. Mitch McConnell wants stimulus. He doesn't want $3 trillion stimulus nor $2 trillion stimulus. He wants problem solver stimulus. But you and I can do it even better. We can make it even smaller than problem solver stimulus. How? By using that existing CARES Act 1 PPP unused money that's sitting at SBA coffers. Javita Carranza, who did not want to pay you the remainder of that $10,000 grant, she will no longer be around come this January. She will be gone. The question of whether you're getting the remainder of that $10,000 grant is now a big question. But really what's interesting here is that that $800 billion that's sitting around in PPP, approximately $800 billion, could amount to approximately a $5,000 stimulus check. $5,000 stimulus check would in essence be the equivalent of about $800 billion. Well, guess what? In the problem solvers bill, there's two stimulus checks of $1,200, which costs about, I would say about $500 billion approximately. It's really hard to value it exactly. But that, if you remove that from the problem solvers bill and just did a $5,000 stimulus check, you would be at $1 trillion. Now, I'm not saying they're sending out a $5,000 stimulus check. I'm not saying they would do a $5,000 stimulus check. But what I'm saying is that by using CARES Act 1 unused money, you could get the stimulus package lower and make sure that there's enough benefits for other things like FPUC into February and March, like like essential workers getting a hazard pay-ish bill. And so what's important to understand is that the tensions between the parties will resolve because Joe and Mitch don't want to do that anymore. And where you get those tensions resolved is at a number closer to 1 to 1.5, and you get it by searching this other money that has not been used and reallocating it for stimulus. By doing that, the stimulus package would come in at a great number. And with that, you could have FPUC 450 for 8 weeks and 5 weeks at $600 under the problem solvers bill, and even carry it further than the problem solvers bill wanted. You could also then have EIDL grant, EIDL loan, PPP money. You could have Mitch McConnell's liability insurance, and you could have the provisions that everyone really wants. What's important is Purple Power is that the work started on this channel on April 25th. It does not start on January 25th. And while an inauguration will happen on January 25th, your push of the Purple Power started on April 25th and continues today. You need to be on social media making it very clear to Mitch and Joe and everyone in their transition teams to use the existing sitting around PPP money and repurpose it for the purposes of stimulus checks. What's important to understand is when you're tagging them, make sure you refer to it as the unused CARES Act PPP money. Don't refer to it as the 850 billion or 800 billion because they won't know what you're talking about. So refer to it as the unused PPP money from the previous CARES Act plan. Say, please send it out as stimulus. As stimulus checks right now. And they need to hear the words checks because when they talk about stimulus, they think about something else. Next, you need to make sure that the FPUC, PUA, and PEUC are all continue past December. You can't have a stimulus package that is just till middle of December, 4 weeks. What is that? You need to make sure that it's retroactive enough, and retroactive means that FPUC expired in July. You need to ensure that the money includes also some sort of EIDL grant, PUA, PPP, and EIDL loan. And you need hazard pay. What's important to understand is that Mitch McConnell wants you to have these things. He does not want you to get a $10,000 lump sum in your hand. He doesn't want you to get a $20,000 lump sum. But he wants you to get these things. Jerome Powell wants you to get these things, ahead of the Federal Reserve. And Joe Biden wants you to get these things. Narrowly tailored in a way that it gets money in your hands, not as federal raises for federal employees who don't need this money, and not for gap. And this could all include an additional $300 billion for state and local essential workers under as part of the problem solvers bill. All incredibly great. Let me go over some of your incredible questions and comments from last night's Purple Power that was taped, of course. And before I do, please stay tuned for 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, which is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's in about 10 minutes from now, is Evening's LALATE Check. That's Evening's Check, our taped recording in about 10 minutes from now. I will be going over what... No, you do not have to wait till March. The show's coming up in 5 minutes. I will be going over when, how, and how much the stimulus package could cost and how quickly it can get out and what will be the deal provisions. Again, that's Evening's LA. It's taped in about 10 minutes from now. Let me go over some incredible questions and comments from last night's recording. Denise, and every time that you refer to the Temple of Doom, I'm just skipping over her because she's no longer relevant. And another one, and another one, and another one. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Melissa, those 5 questions, comments about her in a row. Melissa, Purple Power community has power. We are the power of this country. Thank you, LA, for giving us Americans, people of all states, in every community. We have a voice, the Purple Power. Charlie Hall, first, I'm 60 years old and on SSDI and a lifetime Democrat, and that woman has to go. Connie, she doesn't represent us. Tonya, we won't miss you. I'm referring to someone else. Purple Power family, I love you, and I love you back. Finally, as Joe Biden said tonight, today we can cooperate. We will cooperate. America decided that the election results would end this way so that we would be forced to cooperate. He's referring to a Republican Senate and a Democratic president. We can definitely reach possibilities together. Everyone can go in and dream and deliver the possibilities for the country. We're looking ahead for America with jobs and giving dignity and respect, an America that never leaves anyone behind and never gives up. We are good people. This is America of the United States. Spread the faith and spread it to all. And spread the Purple Power spirit. Thank you for the positivity, the positive message, and thank you for your kind comments tonight. And join me in 5 minutes from now on the taped recording of Evenings LALATE.